Defense lawyers for Joaquin El Chapo Guzman are now fighting to get the notorious Mexican drug kingpin removed from solitary confinement. Guzman is currently being held at a prison in New York City after being extradited to the U.S., where his lawyers argue his mental health is deteriorating. But federal prosecutors say the restrictions are necessary, having already escaped from federal prison twice. CBS News Justice reporter Paula Reid is in Washington. Paula, so what exactly are El Chapo's lawyers asking for here from the judge?
They say that their client wants to be able to talk to his wife, pick his own lawyer, get outside once in a while, and maybe even watch a little TV. In a 24-page letter to the judge, they argue that the current terms of El Chapo's confinement are excessive and damaging his health. They say it's ultimately unconstitutional.
Well, El Chapo is currently in solitary confinement. What does that entail for him exactly?
Elaine, it's fascinating. In this letter, we're getting new details about what it's like for him day to day. This letter says that he's held in his cell between 23 and 24 hours a day. If he does get out during that 1 hour during the weekdays, he goes to another cell where he is also in solitary confinement and he can exercise on a treadmill or a bike. Now, his meals are passed to him through a slot in his door, and the light in his cell, Elaine, they say it's always on. He purchased a small clock, they say, from the commissary to help him know when it's night versus day, but that was allegedly confiscated from him. He was, however, able to purchase a radio, which they say is still in his possession.
Well, give us some context here. I mean, are these conditions unusual for a high-profile person like himself? I mean, his lawyers say that the solitary confinement is affecting his mental health.
Well, there's a lot of research that does say that solitary confinement is detrimental to your mental health. But Elaine, we're not dealing with an ordinary defendant here. I mean, he is really a rarefied prisoner. He's one of the world's most wanted men, and he has escaped from prison not once, but twice. He was arguably sent to the United States because this is one of the few places in the world where he can't escape from prison. So this really is a test of how many restraints, how many restrictions you can really put on the confinement of this kind of defendant.
Well, El Chapo's lawyers argue his First, Fifth, and Sixth Amendment rights are being violated. How likely is it for the judge to consider their argument?
They've already brought up a lot of these points in the last hearing. Now, I was there at that hearing, and the judge said that he said there are reasons for these strict conditions. He said we all know what those reasons are, of course referring to El Chapo's successful escapes in Mexico. He said he would ultimately defer to the prison authorities on how to best handle this situation. And Elaine, I don't see anything really new here in this 24-page letter that is going to change the heart or mind of this judge.
Well, looking ahead, Paula, when is his trial and what can we expect?
It's going to be a long road. The first issue is him selecting a lawyer. He currently has federal taxpayer-funded defenders, but of course he is a billionaire, and they say that he should be able to afford his own counsel, but he argues that he hasn't been able to get in touch with his wife or his family who can help him get the resources and get a proper lawyer. Now, once he has his permanent counsel in place, his legal team, it's going to be a long time. This trial is going to go on for a really long time because of the nature of the charges. Interestingly, this is not a death penalty case. We had to waive the death penalty in order to have him extradited here. So, Elaine, there is a chance he could technically plead guilty to all of the charges and just spend the rest of his life in prison. But the Department of Justice tells me they will not offer him any kind of plea deal. And if anything goes wrong in this trial in New York, he currently has about a half a dozen different cases pending in federal districts across the country, and they would just have him tried there instead.
All right, Paula Reid in Washington for us. Paula, thank you.